You're listening to The Morning Beat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. We're joined now by a beautiful young lady, Carmen Carrera, who this is the first time we've actually met, so it's so nice to meet you. I just became familiar with you. A good friend of ours, Shar Jossel, was on the show recently. We were talking about this Halle Berry story, which we're going to ask you about in a little bit. But she recommended I watch Disclosure on Netflix. And you were featured on there, the interview you did with Katie Couric. And then you're on the Laverne Cox came out and sort of she asked her the same question she asked you, and she sort of like came in like a proud mama and kind of like stood by you in response to a question that was kind of inappropriate. That was a few years ago. How have you changed since then, and how would you respond differently now, do you think?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think that honestly, that moment is what changed the narrative around interviewers feeling comfortable to like ask trans people about their genitalia. So I'm kind of, that moment is like, at the time I didn't realize how significant that would have become. And I think it was because it was just sort of like magic, honestly. Like I didn't even know that Laverne was going to be on that day. I think I had only met her like once or twice in passing, and like it was just like such a perfect combo. I didn't expect that. That came out of left field. I was sort of like souped up to see like, oh my gosh, like I'm on Katie Couric. Like, wow, like I'm going to talk about like really awesome things. And I just honestly like that changed the game completely. It was so special. It was so special. And that documentary, watching the history of like just the narrative, the movement, the topic, the conversation, like it just really opened up my eyes, and it makes me feel more like proud, to like keep pushing and keep going. And, where I am now is like in a totally different space. Like that would definitely not fly these days.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was curious. I was curious if you've grown into your voice a bit more, it seems.
Yeah. Like I'm a little bit more relaxed. Cause it's like, look, when I got that opportunity, it was new. And like, I don't think you can really like understand what that experience really feels like until you experience it. Like, you can't prepare yourself,
Yeah.
So now I'm a bit more like mature. I'm more like relaxed. I'm like, you know what, I got this. Whereas before I was like, oh my God, Katie Couric, like, oh my God, like like I saw everything through rose-colored goggles, like everything was like so like, wow, now I'm just like,
it's so funny because I met you years ago from Drag Race. I feel like so many of your fans have been on this full journey with you. I told you I can't believe your stepmom to a 16-year-old. Like we all kind of know your life.
Yeah.
And I think that you've brought so much visibility and positive visibility to so many spectrums of the LGBTQ community. I want to ask you, what did you think about Halle Berry talking about and misgendering the character and then eventually stepping down due to pressure?
Well, I think honestly, that's really, first of all, when you have an opportunity to tell a story, you want to make sure as an actor or as anyone, a storyteller, you want to make sure that you are staying true to the people, to the group of people who you are serving in a sense. So I honestly think that's like really big of her to like say, you know what, like this is something that I feel like deserves the right, trans actor, not just like any actor to come and like play a trans role. And I think it sends a message out there to Hollywood, to, any other writer or producer, to really kind of give us that validation, because we've been saying this for a long time. Like we've been asking for this. We've been saying, hey, we have talent. Hey, we can tell these stories, and it does kind of feel like we're like such a small fish in this huge ocean of like these big, big time A-list actors, who have the access, they have the name. And, I think it was really big of her, and I applaud her. Like, go Halle Berry. Like that's really huge, for her.
Well, I think with any movement, it always comes down to representation, right? Visibility and representation, they really do make the difference, because I do believe it's so hard to judge anyone once you know them. And you're representing yourself very well on this new platform, Jasmine. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yes. So, okay. Jasmine's really cool because with Jasmine, I can connect to people like one-on-one. Whereas like Instagram and, you know, Facebook and Twitter, it's kind of just like what you put out. It's more of like what you are, you know, trying to contrive in a sense. You know, it's like, okay, I'm going to share this part of my life. I'm going to share that part of my life. And I feel like I've always wanted to be like a service to people. You know what I'm saying? Like I want everything that I'm learning every step of the way is new for me. And I sort of have created a nuance with my experience. And I want to bring peace of mind and healing to anyone that's going through the trans experience or just feeling different and wanting to come into themselves. And so Jasmine gives me that opportunity where I can book like a one-on-one with someone and we can just sit there like a FaceTime and talk about like whatever is going through their mind or whatever they're experiencing or what they need help with or clarity with. And that really makes me feel like a deeper sense of purpose, you know, maybe because I'm a mom, like maybe, I don't know what it is, but it's like, a lot of the fears that I found in the LGBT community going through my process and my journey, I've always wanted to dispel, you know, I've always wanted to bring love and like sort of remind people that yes, we have a lot of adversity and yes, there's a lot of naysayers and there's a lot of judgment, but we also have access to love and we have to create it. And how can we do that? Collectively and work together. So it's like when I got this opportunity to work with Jasmine, I was so excited because I'm like, dude, like I can really put my experience to work. And so, and it's international. So now I'm talking and meeting with people from all walks of life, different cultures, you know, and really bring some of like my vibrancy, you know, to the far reaches of the world. Like what?
I love that. It's so great.
Huge. Yeah. So
well, this is something very fierce too, because I love that people can connect with you, including like youth. It doesn't matter. But the brand's creative director is Pamela Anderson, which I think is so fierce. And the two of you, have you been able to meet and work together? And is it sort of like a girl power thing? Because she was such a sex symbol for so long to so many, but she was also kind of like slut shamed very disrespectfully. And to see now in 2020, it's a different game and you're literally running the world.
Yeah, I mean, also too, just like being objectified, you know,
Yeah.
and how people disconnect you from your humanity. You know, I bet Pamela has some amazing stories, you know, just female empowerment, like how she's able to harness her power, you know, and like I think that's pretty badass, you know.
Yeah,
she's definitely an icon, a beauty icon, sex icon. She's just someone that I think provides something different than what you'd expect from Pamela Anderson.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like the name Pamela Anderson, like so much more. She's so cool.
It sounds like that's what Jasmine offers for you. Like fans can get something different from you. They can check it out at Jasmine, JASMIN.com. Carmen, yes. You're fantastic. You're wonderful.
Carmen, thank you. I want you to know I literally followed you for so long and you're just so warm and your essence is so kind and you're really welcome anytime on the show. But thank you for all the work. You've been working for a long time, for a lot of years. I know that you work very closely with Love Loud and you've sat down with Mitt Romney and different politicians to talk about the very important things that we need for our community, particularly in conversion therapy and making sure that's banned. So
all the bills got passed that we lobbied. We went to lobby day and we sat there and I looked at the senators in the eye and I'm like, hey,
come on.
You sign this, please. This is what we, you know, like that's, you know, you walk away with such a feeling of accomplishment because I kind of feel like you can get lost sometimes in the shuffle of things. Like when, you know, like people want access to you and whatever it is. And like, sometimes you get lost in that, you know, and like by doing things like this, like I said, like it gives me a deeper sense of purpose because ultimately, like I want to create positive change. And I think that we all deserve it. You know, all oppressed people. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty awesome. And I'm actually working on, with Jasmine, I'm working on a project where I want to take their, the new LGBT caucus that was just formed, I don't know, a couple months ago on Capitol Hill. It's a group of like small group of LGBT people that came together and was like, hey, all right, we need to like really, you know, get our stuff together and create change. And I want to do like a profile of them on my Jasmine. So like, you know, giving people access to the information, the names and the faces of the people who are making change for us, and they can put the trust in there. Because I kind of feel like when it comes to activism, it's like folks kind of feel lost. Like, how can I help? How can I be of service? Or how can I, even if it's signing a petition or if it's going to a protest. And so I want to connect those dots for people. So I'm working, with Jasmine. So I can bring like a camera crew, and like we can sit down and we can show people what's happening out there.
As someone who has fought for so many years for so many different sort of cross sections of the LGBTQ plus community, and you see the Black Lives Matter protest becoming what's being called the biggest civil rights movement in the history of the planet right now, by some accounts. What sort of similarities do you see, and where do you see these movements kind of coming together and moving forward as one?
Well, my hope right now, what I'm seeing is there's a lot of people of color that are stepping in and, you know, being inclusive to Black trans people, you know, and saying, hey guys, like we've got to come together. Because look, I have light skin, you know, I as much as I would love to be a voice to the Black Lives Matter movement, the best thing that I can do is share the information, right? Because I don't think I've ever experienced the level of oppression that someone of color or a trans woman of color has dealt with. You know, I have dealt with a lot in my life, but I feel like for me, what we have to do in order to work together is be able to identify the holes and like what's missing within, like, I guess the like sub layers of the activism, you know, so that we can have a better connection and we can work together, you know, because that's definitely what I am totally about. So I kind of see it like we've got to be present and we have to be available, but at the same time we have to be like willing to step up and like for instance, I was on my social media and I was, you know, kind of not pleading or whatever, but like I was asking people like, hey, can you like, even if you are not a person of color, like just join the fight and be there and show up. And, you know, because I feel like there is a lot of, there's like a stigma with like trans women and stuff. And I feel like if we just don't ask questions and just support, you know, and just show up for other people, that karma will come back to us, you know, and people can see that we do care. We're not like here to deceive people or whatever people may think of us, or, you know, we're actually in the same boat, and we're very similar, you know, in the oppression that we experience. And it's not to say that anyone's pain is, you know, greater than anyone else's, but if we do come together and work together, I think it's going to be better for the whole, you know, and we all can use some allies in our lives, you know, and diversity is amazing. It's key. You know, I get bored of myself. Like I want to meet someone who's different. That's why I love Jasmine, because I can meet people from like all walks of life and culturally too. Like I want to feel cultured. I want to feel connected to other people and music and food and I love human beings. I love expression. I love, you know, all of those things. And
we love you, Carmen. We understand why they signed those bills. You're very persuasive and you're very
I know. I'm like, I just love you, girl. Well, you're also persuading us to go to jasmine.com. We'll also have that information on our website. You know, Pride may be over, but we celebrate Pride 365. Carmen, you are a Pride icon for all the work that you've done and for living your truth. You're always welcome on our show. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Michaela. I appreciate you. And AJ, I'm going to come back. We're going to talk. I have a lot of little things cooking right now. That's
anytime.
Really exciting. So we definitely will.
I look forward to meeting you in real life.
I know, and this is over.
Yeah.
I know. Soon.
And welcome to the West Coast. You just moved to LA. Is that right?
I did. Yeah, I did. I moved up to Tarzana. It's so beautiful, so peaceful.
I love it.
How long have you been out here?
It's been a year and a half. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been here. You were here for a bit before like COVID and everything. You're good then. Okay.
Yeah, I was here for a bit before COVID, and then when COVID hit, I was just like stuck in the house going crazy because I was so scared. I'm like, wait, what? Like I literally envisioned like little germs flying everywhere. Like I locked myself in the house and I started a marketing agency for LGBTQ people.
Come on.
Right, girl. So I'm like, listen, I'm gonna sit home. I literally had so much anxiety. I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. And if I don't start something now,
you're losing it.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to lose it. So
Well, girl, I could do some marketing, so I'm going to write you. I'm going to DM you.
Yeah, it's called CC3 Entertainment. Carmen Carrera Cares. And it's basically just to give opportunities to other people. Like I'm leveraging my name and my experience to help other people who need a job. You know, it's like, girl, we got to help each other out. You know?
You're a queen.
Yeah, you're so great.
Well, please
You're
come
so
on.
great.
Please be our friend. We love you, and thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications from radio.com. While you're at it, why don't you check out some of our other great videos.